Hello, wonderful people. My name is Jessica, aka the Sacred Rebel. This podcast is dedicated to all the other sacred rebels out there, sacred women, and all of the above that are in need of a guiding light in their waking life and spirituality. This podcast will feature talks on spirituality, being a woman, traumas, self-development, meditations, as well as self-healing and all of the above. It is with love and compassion that I gift this podcast to the rest of the world, as it was never presented to me growing up. And it is my hope that this podcast will be the seed that is planted in someone else to basically be motivated to create a change within themselves that can be the change for the rest of the world. So kick back, relax, grab a cup of tea, and enjoy. Much love. Hello and welcome back to another episode. This episode is going to be just as special as the rest of the episodes. And for this topic, it's something that I spoke about before, not too long ago, maybe like within a year. And I want to talk about burnout, especially for women. A couple months ago, I did do an event called Burnt Out Babes, where I discussed why are women burnt out? How does it start? And how to work through it. And it was a beautiful little thing that I did where, a couple people came out and they supported it. Now, when it comes to being burnt out, we all know how that feels. We feel too exhausted to move forward, yet somehow we still do it, because if we stop, it just means that life just kind of ends right there. We all been through the point where we're forgetting things, we're not feeling motivated to do anything, we are feeling robotic in our lives. And a lot of women, sometimes they acknowledge that they're burnt out, and sometimes they just chalk it up to like, I'm just exhausted and it's okay, just a little bit exhausted, and they just keep going and they're digging themselves deeper and deeper into a hole. Now, I want to say that this is not normal. A little bit of stress is normal, but this right here in particular, mentally and physically and spiritually running yourself like down into the ground, running on fumes, is not normal. It's not something that should be done. I know that in this country we praise other people for like their extra hard work and effort, rather than, hey, guess what? You need a break. You need to go to sleep for like 3 days and don't come back until you're well rested. Of course, no one's going to say that to you, because, if every company started telling like their employees that you need to go home for like a couple days or a week to rest, they will lose out on so much money. So we are under the illusion that, you have vacation days. You are limited to the number of times that you got to take off until you are out. And now you have to comply to stay and work until you are burnt out. And I've been on like a really good benders with being burnt out. And I will give you a little quick story. So when I worked my old job, I was already depressed being on the desk. The job wasn't like my soul calling. And I was already like burnt out from it for the last 6 years. And it got bad to the point where I was always taking off left and right whatever time I had, I will use it immediately to take off. And even if I did like take like a weekend off to do whatever to rest and recharge, I will still come back to the same environment, still exhausted. Yes, maybe I caught up on sleep, but I was still exhausted. And I will feel trapped because I've already used all my vacation time. I've already used all of my sick time, and I had nothing left until the next month. And I was always like antsy and anticipating when I was going to get my refill so I can just take off right again and not be at work for a couple days because I was burnt out. And that was a never ending cycle. That was a never ending cycle until I stopped and quit my job. Well, technically resigned. Quit, such a strong word. Resigned is the proper term. And here we are. I've identified what was like burning me out, which was not aligning with my soul purpose. And it took a lot of courage to get up and just like remove it from my life. Of course, that's just like one example of being burnt out. Quite honestly, I feel like women have always been burnt out from the moment of conception. And I'm going to explain that. So let me explain. Now, the reason why I believe that from the moment of conception that we are assigning ourselves at birth as female, we are burnt out because of how society, how most parts of the world view women as like the weaker race. Seeing on like ultrasounds, people will be like, oh, it's a girl. And then we always have like the mother who is proud of having a daughter. And then there's also mothers who are like, damn, I really wanted a son. That starts right there. And then there's usually the fathers that want a son. And then as soon as they hear, oh, you're having a little girl. Damn, I really wanted a son. Oh, well, we'll still love him anyways. That is energetic burnout right there. That is something that's felt energetically, especially coming from mama, because mama and baby are connected in the womb. They're connected through the umbilical cord energetically. They're connected. The baby can feel that. And I think that, like, no tea, no shade. If you're going to basically throw shade at a fetus, you need to go to therapy. I watched a documentary a long time ago about women in India not being allowed to get ultrasounds because the moment they figure out what the sex of the baby is, they'll either try to abort him themselves or find someone else to do it, even if the baby is too far along. Because little boys are more valued in a lot of these Asian countries because it is the male that's supposed to carry the family name. You would think they have a little bit more respect for the women, especially if we can basically birth something. Yes, it takes two to tango, but we are the only type of human beings that can take a couple of cells, add a little spice to it, and then boom, in the void, through the void, make a whole completely different human being with a soul birth into this world. I think that's some powerful shit. I think that is just like, that is up there powerful. And that's why like some places like in the Amazons and some special parts in the world where they have high respect for women, especially their elders, especially in Native American tribes, they have high respect for their women because Like I said before, we can birth things from nothing into something. And like I said, I feel like from the moment of conception, we are already starting to burn out. We are already set up for like this low key type of failure. And we grow up and we learn all the things in the society that technically is designed to stretch a bitch out. We absorb this and then we start to think less of ourselves. And we're often surrounded by all these different influences that distract us from our true selves. Like we have all these different type of competitions such as beauty pageants, especially for like the little kids. I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with toddlers and tiaras. That is to me disgusting. We have like these Miss World competitions, which I don't really find them too bad, but it's still like we're trying to like judge who is the fairest of them all, who is more gorgeous than the next person. I think we're all gorgeous in our unique ways. And we are like constantly bombarded with all these commercials with the makeup, the weight loss pills, the being slim and slender and having long hair, big breasts, ass, your status, your race, and skin tone. It's all this stuff, all this stuff. And we were pit against each other even in like elementary school. You know, we were pinned against each other too. And it just gets worse when we get older. It just basically keeps expanding. And that energy that we are constantly exposed to, that's not nurturing, that's what creates like a lot of women that be in survivor mode, because this society is in such a fast pace, a type of energy. Everything has got to be done quick. Everything got to be fast, that we don't have time to sit down, slow down, and be creative and just be like ourselves. We have to try to be like everyone else in order to fit in. And that's the one thing that a little girl wants to do, is she just wants to fit in and have friends. And it is very hard to do so if you're always basically like taught like to tend to everyone else's needs and desires before your own, so you don't seem to be selfish. So you just kind of like just put yourself on the back burner often, and then you start living someone else's dream, doing like working for someone else and making your dreams come true. But what about your dreams? If it's not in alignment with what you want to do, it's just going to make you feel like that you're an imposter. And that's where part of imposter syndrome comes from, is living someone else's dream that it's not feeding your soul, doing things and jobs that are not feeding your soul. If you're not feeling joyous or passionate about it, then you're going to have to like rethink some career choices soon. And doing a million things, doing all this stuff that does not like end up well with you and your energy. Because if you're unfocused and you're putting your energy in like all these different things, you're going to like speed up the burnout faster. And also feeling like you have to do everything yourself is going to lead to burnout as well. And not taking care of yourself, and I mean like not like just getting your hair and nails done. I'm talking about like taking care of yourself mentally, you're taking care of yourself physically, like making sure that you're all set It's okay to make sure that you are set before everyone else is okay, because if you're not okay, who is going to take care of you? And not establishing boundaries, not meditating, not journaling what's going on internally, or keeping note of it is going to expedite the burnout even faster. And the way how society is teaching us to basically raise humble, docile girls to be more pleasant and digestible for other people, because if it's outside of the norm, it's chaos. So they just want us to be just good little girls who just get with good little boys, have babies, have these like little good little girl jobs, such as being a nurse, or being maybe a doctor, or some sort of office position in a men's office, and you're just doing all this stuff and you're not feeling fulfilled. But it's easy because you just want to fit in. And also, I'm not dissing on women who already love these certain type of jobs and whatnot. I'm just saying that there are a lot of women who are doing these jobs that they don't have the passion for. That's what I'm trying to say. And the good news is, even though you're burned out, you can still manifest the life that you want. You can still create magic. And the best way to get through a burnout is, at first, stop with what you're doing. Stop with what you're doing. If you are able to stop or put a pause in it, I'm not encouraging you to just go ahead and just quit your job. I mean, that would be the better choice, but obviously that's got to be planned. If you can't quit your job, what you can do is see if you can just take a couple days off, or if you can't, we can work something out. But the first thing is to just stop what you're doing and just sit still and take a breath. Take a breath. Acknowledge who you are, where you are at. Connect with your senses. Feel what's around you. And when you are feeling your senses, like I can smell this, I see this, I can taste this, I can, feel this. I think I might have already said that. Then we're working on bringing you to present. We're working on bringing you back up to being present. Because if you are not present with yourself, you're going to stay burned out, and then it's going to be harder to develop yourself if you are burnt out. Meditate on your burnout. Why do you feel so burnt out? What is something that you can do to help alleviate or eliminate the burnout? Describe what you are feeling and journal that. Journal your feelings out. And come up with a list of the different things that you can do to be successful where you at. What can you do to help alleviate the burnout outside of just doing meditations, which will definitely help you, outside of taking a moment to rest, breathe, and relax, coming up with a list of things that you can do for yourself to achieve the burnout. I mean, not achieve the burnout. I'm so sorry. To achieve recovery from burnout. And with that list, add another list. List the things that you want to do, that you are passionate about. Do you want to be like a yoga instructor? Do you want to be a breathwork facilitator, a sound healer, a Reiki master? List the things that you want to do. And it doesn't always have to be like a spiritual profession. It could be something different. Just list some things that are close to your soul that you want to do. And also list the things that you have to do in order to achieve that. Once you made that list, figure out what is much more obtainable. Are you able to get into learning how to teach yoga? Are you able to get into learning how to be a sound healer? What is more obtainable to you? And that's something that you're going to take the time to focus on outside of your life, your job. But definitely take the time to learn this new thing because it can be very helpful for you in the future. I've learned Reiki because originally it was more to help myself, to self heal. But eventually I turned it into like, I'm going to help other people. I'm going to offer services for other people. I'm going to teach other people Reiki so they'd be able to self heal themselves as well in a better way. Basically, I'm providing upgrades. But yeah, just doing these few things. And there's other things that can be done to help out with burnout, such as meeting with people who are going through the same things and talking to each other, coming together in a creative group to really express yourself in the best ways to connect with yourself, doing the things that connect you, going outside to the park to ground, going to the water. Water is very healing and grounding. There's many things that could be done to help lessen the burnout and help heal past it. Will burnout come back? Of course, it's going to come back. When you start overworking yourself again, it's going to come back. But you will know how to identify it and you will know how to handle it. And that's it for this episode. Maybe I'll talk about more in depth of the things that a person can do to help with burnout. But until then, much love. Stay blessed.